We got a second part to do. Yesterday we went through a bunch of archetypes. 5 more to go. For anybody new tuning in or that wasn't here yesterday or that didn't watch the YouTube content, where instead of doing set review, which would be a card by card evaluation in vacuum, we're building archetype skeletons, which means we're imagining or we're building imaginary decks out of the whole pool of cards, but following a formula of maximum 2 rares, maximum 10 uncommons, and you can fill out the rest with commons. But the idea is you're putting cards in context and you already have a picture of an archetype before you get into a draft or before you even play with the set. Okay, let's do red-white since that's the first thingy that popped in chat. Grab your favorite iconic weapon and rush into battle. Look for creatures that want to be equipped or cards that reward you for having equipments. Then gear up to outclass your opponent. So I think this might be an accurate description. So how I started each archetype is I went with side boss stuff. Red-white 1/1 double strike. Whenever Geot or another dwarf you control enters, and whenever an equipment you control enters, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. Cheap creature, double strike, works with equipment, and it triggers stuff. So it loots or rummages. But it's not necessarily that insane of a build around. It's just, you can put it in the deck. And you're gonna be fine. You don't need to go out of the way. You're gonna have some equipment. And this is another one. Zinedine Zidane. 3 colorless, red, white, 3/3. When enters, gain control of target creature an opponent controls. Untap it, it gains lifelink and haste until end of turn. Whenever an opponent gains control of a permanent you control, create a treasure token. You cannot sack in these colors, can you? Chat. You cannot steal and sack, but it would be 1,000,000 mana either way. So this doesn't have to do anything with equipment. So it's just... Is there a hidden archetype? It's good. It's a good top end for an aggro deck. The issue is there's nothing cheap to sack, so you would need at least, let's say you get Treachery, right, in red, black. You still need 7 mana. If you have a sack on a creature, it works with the Manus side post uncommon, but man, that's clunky. I don't know. It's too expensive. Yeah, I'd rather splash the Threaten effect, which is 3 mana. So we need payoffs, which are cards that care about equipments, and we have 1 already. We need equipments, which are enablers. But ultimately, we kind of want a curve because we're an aggro deck, and we want removal, efficient removal, and interaction. These are probably really good still, because there's going to be a lot of artifacts. So let's say we're lucky. Well, if you're lucky, you're getting 3. You need 2 for these to work. This creature gets +1/+0 as long as you control another artifact. For 3 mana, search your library for a card, name this, and put it on the battlefield. So you need multiples. And it is ultimately a Savannah Lion and a cheap creature to put an equipment on. So let's say we're in a normie draft and we're getting 2. And I think 2 is fine. You can play them. You still have a 1 mana 2/1 if you follow it with an equipment on 2. Way better probably in blue-white because you also care about artifacts. This is also an artifact. We could play combat tricks, but let's worry about that later because combat tricks with equipments are a little bit awkward because you don't mind trading and re-equipping. So there's just not enough mana in a turn usually for combat tricks. So let's put that in. I'm also looking at white card, but we can spread these around because blue-white will also want the same card. So maybe I should worry more about red uncommons. Ambrosia, white card, 2 mana, 2/2, flash, enters. You may return another permanent you control to its owner's hand. It does matter with equipment. You can return an equipment, and equipments in this set have job select. So whenever you're gonna recast it, you get another 1/1. So it's actually value with equipments. And the best would be to trade the equipment away and then pick it up, because you don't need to then pay the re-equip, you just recast the equipment. 2 mana, make a 1/1, +1/+0, and it gets flying in your turn. Equip is 4, which is expensive, but you're getting effectively a 2 mana 2/1 flyer on curve with then equipment left over. This is the removal. You would be happy playing, deals damage equal to the number of creatures you control plus the number of equipment. So with only 1 equipment, because it makes a token, it's already 2 damage, but when you're dealing 3, which is gonna be pretty easy, it's a 2 mana 3 or more, I think on average. This is a common equipment. Let's put it in. 2 mana, make a 1/1, +1/+1, 3 to equip and gains life on the attacks. The equipped creature gets +2/+1, has ward 1, 4 to equip, but it does buff for 2 and toughness as well. Could play 1. Maybe I'll remove it later. I think it's not gonna be premium, but you will be happy playing it. Power equal to the number of creatures, so this is more of a go white card. Another go white card. Rescue mission is interesting. This might be an inclusion. It's not necessarily meant for equipment, but if you go really low to the ground, this effectively taps the whole board. And then whenever you don't have that ability, you have the token ability. Okay, common. I think these are gonna be really important. If possible, you want at least 2. 4 mana, 2/2 enters, draw a card. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you control an equipment, you may pay 1 when you do attach equipments you control to target creature. Or just look at the equipments in this format. 3 to equip, 4 to equip, 4 to equip. Like, this gives you, like, effectively 2 to 3 mana discount. That's completely insane. Even if it's overcosted, like, you wouldn't be happy playing a 4 mana 2/2 enters, draw a card. That would be pretty bad in an aggro deck. But effectively, it will grant you so much mana. And if they deal with a card that already drew you another card, that's pretty sick. When this equipment enters, attach it to target creature you control. That creature gains first strike. Equipped creature get +1/+0. Equip 1 for 1. This is really good. It reminds me of the Streets of New Capenna card, which was also premium. Thunder Magic. Usually shocks are better in tempo-ish / control deck rather than aggro, but obviously this is a good rate. Every archetype will want this card. Whenever you attack, target attacking whip creature gains madness until end of turn. And it is a common, so one of that. Freya. Oh, Freya is busted, yeah. Because it's a flying early creature and then you will profit on the mana. Okay, let's put it in. How many uncommons do we have? Because we will cap soon 6. I guess we're fine. And we don't need to play Zidane. Zidane doesn't really... Like, I mean, it's a good card, but it doesn't say anything about the archetype. Okay, there's another 4. 4 mana, job select, +3/+2, and is a warrior. So it's a 4 mana, 4/3, equipped is 5. But to be fair, once you get the vendors, this one is then kind of the best payoff for vendor. So depends how many of these you have. So you just basically equip it for 1. That's like 4 mana of reduction. But yeah, the issue then gets how many 4 drops can you fit in a deck and that type of scenario. So this one is crazy. So Samurai's Katana, 3 mana, job select, gets +2/+2, has trample haste, and it's Samurai. So it's a 3 mana, 3/3 haster effectively. So word map wouldn't do anything here, while for instance in a mage deck it triggers for non-creature stuff, and in green-black deck, it goes into the graveyard as a permanent. By the way, I think this card is gonna be super underrated. First of all, it's colorless. It's also the easiest to equip. It's 2 sack fathers, an artifact and a hero for blue-white. And it's a good replacement if you don't get your Dragoon's Lance and stuff. So I think 1 you're probably gonna end up in. It's not premium or anything, but I'm just saying it's actually the one you can move around for relatively cheap, even though it doesn't grant like that insane of stats. So the curve is like that, because these are all creatures. So we need some removal. Yeah, I'm not buying Barret that much. It also needs to survive the whole turn. I'd rather have cheaper stuff. So let's remove Barret. And what did I say I want to add? One thing, equipments are just creatures in this deck, right? So it's not too much. Definitely not too much. Because for instance, Alliance is just a 2 mana, 2/1 flyer, which is already good. So it's not like your typical equipment deck. I'm gonna put this in. It does give you mana for re-equipping. And it is a common, by the way, which is kind of sick. When this enters, exile target non-permanent opponent controls until this artifact leaves. And it just adds some mana, so it's a mana rock. But I like the application that you can just play your stuff first, deal with a blocker, and then you can use the mana for re-equipping. And I think you want 2 slashes more than other removal in this deck, because that will also deal with big stuff. Okay, we need a rare. What rare are we choosing for this? Equip creature you control have haste. Okay, that would be perfect. Whenever a non-token equipment you control enters, create a token that's a copy of it, except it has this equipment. Equip ability costs 2 less to activate. Sacrifice this. I'm just gonna double on item shopkeep. Like no other deck wants that. So realistically, you're gonna see a lot of shopkeeps. Okay, last card chat. How am I struggling so much with red-white? And I always had too many playables in every other archetype. We could play another rare. Let's just say because the rares are so specific, they're gonna go later if this is gonna be open. This is the realistic scenario where you end up with archetype matter rares. Because for instance, no other deck wants this 2-drop. 2 mana, 2/2, pay life equal to its power. On ward, attacks attach up to 1 target equipment you control to target attacking creature. So if nobody is in equipments, this is going like literally down to almost last pick. But yeah, obviously people take the rare, so I'm gonna add it. Pretty easy to build. Equipments, payoffs, curve, removal, and you're good. You want Is It? Okay, let's do Is It. That might be my favorite, or Black Red might be my favorite. Black red is more of my style, but red blue is probably a trickier deck. Whenever you cast spells that cost 4 or more mana, you'll gain bonuses in battle. Find ways to generate tokens, like with special equipment, so that your non-creature spells can add to your forces. I don't get this token stuff. That seems weird. I didn't get the feeling that equipments matter at all, but you do you, Wizards. You designed the set, so what do I know? They just wanted to make equipments good in every archetype. So blue-red, 2/2, tap, add blue or red, spend this mana only to cast non-creature spells. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, if at least 4 mana was spent, put a 1/1 counter on this. Then if this has 3 or more counters, transform it. Transformed is a 3/3. Whenever this attacks, it deals X damage to each opponent, where X is the number of non-creature non-land cards in your graveyard. So basically, yeah, really a win more, because you already have a 5/5 that flips into a 6/6. And wins the game when it attacks, but it's good. Like 2 mana, 2/2, get mana for your expensive spells. Yeah, I'm taking that. Colorless, blue-red. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, this gets +X+O, where X is the amount of mana spent to cast the spell. X is 4 or more, draw a card. Okay, so you're really looking to draw cards here, even though it still grants some bonus, but this is a real payoff. Like, they need to remove it. If it stays in play for a little longer, it will actually generate insane value. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, if at least 4 mana was spent to cast it, put a 1/1 counter on this. And then tap, sacrifice, it deals damage equal to the power to target creature. There's actually a lot of 1 toughness stuff, because all the equipments almost generate +X+O. It reads kinda weird, because getting counters late in the game is kinda redundant. I don't know. But I think if there's a deck for it, this is the deck. What deck are you putting this in? It is a common, by the way. You do want more of these. So Thunder Magic and similar cards, these cards are gonna serve as both. You can have a lower curve because you can use the first mode, but then you can play them for more expensive to trigger your stuff. Because that's gonna be the challenge in Is It. We need to build our deck cheap enough to function, but also have enough expensive stuff to trigger our abilities. Choco Comet, another good one. Because you can just, but this goes into any deck. But okay, let's put it in. Suplex, you would play that. A lot is going to be about surviving early to not fall behind on tempo, so you can then start generating value with. Elder is way better in burn type of or aggro type of version, because you really care about 1 damage on this card. 3 mana, 1/3 doesn't really do that much even on the defense. So while you could play this, I don't think it's a great fit if you want to build it bigger. If you want to build this more aggro-ish, which maybe there is a build. Yeah, red doesn't have that much. Such a library, then mill 4 cards. Well, we already added quite a lot of cards. So the key is in red, you want to get a removal. I will add a Syncopate. This one, you can overpay to trigger your stuff later in the game, which is kind of neat, right? But it functions as like a functional 2-drop that's also a spell. Cantrip early, the 4 mana trigger later on. So some number of these are pretty decent here. I could see 2, I could see 1. They are commons. Ice Magic, similar to Thunder Magic. So blue-red actually has insane, generically good commons when you think about it. Like, Ice Magic is completely fine. Exile this artifact, add 1 blue. When you next cast an instant or sorcery spell, this turn copy that spell. But it's weird because you still have to sacrifice this or exile it. So it doesn't really grant. It's +3 mana to just copy. I don't know. It doesn't read well to me, honestly, but it might overperform. Eject, this spell can be countered, return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. Could play that. You have to be really worried. If you don't get this stuff here, you will only have mono 4 drops, so you have to be really careful how you build that. Sahajin is a 2 mana 1/3 whenever you cast a non-creature spell. If at least 4 mana was spent to cast, put a 1/1 counter on this creature, okay? And it can be blocked. This is a card for this deck. And one thing is, there's a lot of 2/1s and 2/2s in this format at 2, so it does block relatively well early. Sentinel could probably fit. 2 mana 2/1 whenever you cast a non-creature spell. If 4 mana was spent, tap target creature and put a stun counter on it. When you're gonna be playing these, like, that's so good to just randomly stun something. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, if at least 8 mana was spent to cast it, put 8 counters. And you can actually, well, these are, you can syncopate for more. You can this for, well, this needs to be at 6 mana, but then you're probably winning. It works with ice magic. That's 8 mana. So it can come up. Okay, that's, Ultros is actually super fun. Super fun. You're obviously playing that if you get it in any blue deck. We can put 1 in, because that's gonna be pretty realistic. And you can always jam the removal if you want. If any deck wants retrieve, this deck wants it. It's a Hill Giant, but on flashback, you get a 5/5. But it is then also the triggers, and it is a common. If you have 2 of the sack artifacts and a clone, can you let one spell resolve, then sack the artifact to copy the next? It is, no, it's not on stack, it needs to resolve. You cannot copy a copy, wait, where's the eject? No, not eject. Okay, so how does that work? So you play this, you play a clone, copy the clone. No, but then you don't have either anymore, so it doesn't work. Because the ability is on stack. The copy ability is still on stack. And there's no either anymore to copy when this comes into play. Pixie is good. Pixie also fills your graveyard for flashback, and you're gonna have a lot of flashback. I'm gonna add a Pixie. I'm gonna add this. This is like a perfect card for this deck. Enters, you may cast target instant sorcery card from your graveyard, and mana of any type can be spent to cast it. From a graveyard. Oh, sick. Busted card is busted. To be, let's add a rare, and then last fillers, and we're Gucci. So rail 1, when you cast next instant sorcery spell, copy it. Okay, so you just copy, and then when you cast your next, copy it twice. Oh, what the? It's still a Hill Giant that surveils that only surveils if they have a removal. But yeah, okay, that's a fun card. It's a fragile but fun card. I want another 2-drop, and probably you will need to play that. You want to survive, and then effectively it will do something later. And then I think you'd be fine playing another non-creature spell. Oh, this would be kind of okay, because there's a lot of payoffs to protect. So I think you're fine. You would be fine playing this. Depends on what cards you get. If you get the payoffs in this deck, it would be sick. While in maybe a different build, it would be worse. Zip it, ship it. Build up your arsenal by playing artifacts, including artifact creatures, tokens, generating equipments, then gain extra bonuses for playing those artifacts. I believe you. Sit Timeless Artificer, 2 colorless, white, blue, 4/4 artifact creatures and heroes you control get +1/+1 for each artificer you control and each artificer card in your graveyard. I mean, you're happy playing that because your equipment stuff gets +1/+1 with only this in play, right? There is not many artificers, probably okay. It's hard to build around it to be completely insane, but you put it in a deck, like it's gonna pump a lot of stuff. Well, not a lot of artifact creatures, but in this deck you won't have anything else than heroes and artifact creatures for the most part. So it will pump everything, more or less. And the other one is Tidus. Whenever artifact you control enters, put a 1/1 counter on this. Whenever attacks, tap target creature and opponent control. So it's not an insane payoff, because if they deal with it, you lose everything that you worked on, but it's a good payoff. This deck really wants 3 of these, but let's put 2, because that's going to be realistic. But if you can get 3, good for you. It's an artifact creature, by the way, so it does work with Sit. Put the white card in, because that's so good, right? It gets your equipment back for value. It also saves your stuff. It would get artifacts back, and then you replay them and get counters on Tidus. Every white aggressive deck wants the lands. Maybe green-white doesn't want the lands. Let's put lands in and then see at what uncommons we are. This doesn't do anything. It makes a hero. Slash probably is going to be alright here as well, because we're going to have equipment. Major Staff is okay. Look at the top 5 cards. You may reveal an artifact card from among them and put it into your hand. For 3 mana, pretty good. Rescue Mission. Ooh, I might like that here as well. Well, depends if you get Sit or not. I guess if you don't get Sit, it's whatever. Possibly, again, 2 Enders if you can get them. But it is a common. But that's an Artificer, so that's then we're talking, right? Imagine having Sit and this in the graveyard, or Sit and this in play. Then it's +2 pump. Then it's crazy. Affinity for artifacts. Get in. So it's a 7 mana 5/4 flying affinity for artifacts when this creature enters the raid too. And every deck will want Aura Seed, but yeah, it's even synergistic in this one. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, draw a card, and is a rogue addition to its other type. I don't know what's a fit for this card, but I can see it in this deck because you're gonna probably have on average more flyers to later put it on. It's a 3 mana 2/2 is so freaking bad. Yeah, so maybe we remove one Vendor so we don't go too crazy on that. Because it's the only deck that wants Rook to turret. It doesn't read that well, but it's fine. Whenever this creature attacks, untap target attacking creature. I think you'd just rather play Monk Fist. Like, it's just easier to re-equip. I'm gonna add 2 of these. This is the best deck maybe for Monk's Fist. Hero. There's not also that much synergy in this blue-white is another thing. Let's put a Wyvern in. Oh, Cargo Ship. Yeah. That's what you're talking about. This is exactly the deck for it. What a card. Flying Widget, 2/3 for 2. It's a vehicle. Add 1 colorless. Spend this mana only to cast artifact spells and activate ability of the artifact sources. Screw 1. Can cast half of our deck. You're probably gonna end up with some number of ice magics. We have really good curve, so we don't need to worry about that. We have decent amount of artifact. The synergy is whatever, honestly. Like, it's really whatever. Like, okay, you have some little synergy here that kind of works. The cards just have that type. So it's more or less just a curve out deck. No, I think control won't work because the equipments are so better on the aggressive. So I don't think control is like more blue-black in this format. Jellycat. I think we want more interaction. We're lacking interaction here. Okay, let's pick a rare first. That's more fun. It's 6 mana. 6 mana when enters, draw a card for each artifact you control. Okay, but I would be super happy playing that. The first time you flip 1 or more coins, we're not flipping coins. Oh, with that, okay. Flip a coin. If you win the flip, create a treasure token. This is a meme. Sacrifice 2 artifacts. This is a good card in this deck, probably. You can sacrifice leftover equipments. We're kind of consistent with 7 to 8 uncommons each time, which is good. Add that. Because we needed more interaction. Beginning of upkeep, look at the top card of your library. If it's an artifact or creature card, you may reveal it and put it into your hand. If you put a card in hand, this way create a food token. But still you can whiff, sacrifice an artifact. If you put a card into your hand this way, create a food token and transform. Sacrifice an artifact, put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control. It's literally a do nothing when it enters the battlefield. So it's really hard to evaluate it. I guess there's maybe gonna be a deck for that. Like maybe you need the make 3 tokens also in this deck. Man, this archetype feels so vanilla, but it's good. It's probably a good deck because you're gonna just pick some wyverns up and just curve out and you have decent removal, you have decent tempo. But it doesn't really have that many payoffs. Like there's like 3 payoffs altogether for artifacts. Play your flyers, play your equipments, play whatever good you get and still probably care about attacking. And then you can build it more expensive, play stuff like Crystal Chosen if you happen to pick that. Or you can build it cheaper, like really depends on what you're getting in the pot. I'll add this guy and then another interaction. And then you basically tweak it to your own liking. I don't like how lazy this feels. Some archetypes are really interesting, like Mage's stuff and Landfall stuff is really good, I think. It was really fun to build that. But there's some really lazy ones, like Blue-White and Blue-Black. Maybe the trick. We're creature heavy. Let's play a trick. Ship it. Okay, so this is going to be hard to read, but they're stating Green-White is a go-white deck. Let's see if that is true. Let's debunk that myth once and for all. Green-White 2/2 lifelink. Whenever this attacks, you may remove a lore counter from each of any number of sagas you control. Put a 1/1 counter on this for each lore counter removed this way. So that's not a token card. That's not a go-white card. That's a saga card. So for 5 mana, it's a 4/4 enters, create a legendary 1/1 green-white dog creature token. Whenever Rinoa attacks, another target creature you control gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each creature you control. Okay, so that is a go-white card, kinda, sorta. So my thoughts when I was building this for MTG Simplified videos, I already knew the cards, or a lot of the cards. I really wanted to play the crystals chosen. My thoughts were like green is gonna be able to ramp. And that's why a 7 mana card is such a great fit here. And then we're talking about the go-white deck. So Wizards were right after all. A 1 card combo. Like this is a payoff and an enabler. in one card. But it is a pretty crazy card when you can cast it. And then I was thinking we build it sort of like good stuff-ish ramp, but also try to complement maybe our top end. Target creature you control fights target creature an opponent controls. Remove a lore counter from target saga. Put a lore counter on target saga. So it really feels like there are more cards that complement the sagas in green-white. This is maybe the only deck that really wants the Gardener. But this is a perfect deck for the Gardener because you get the momentum. Like an earlier Rinoa means earlier attacks. Ramps you here, and it is a creature that can carry a counter. It ramps you into more sagas or something. Whenever you cast your first human creature spell each turn, that creature enters with an additional +1/+1 counter. Are there going to be enough humans? Because that's just a better... I mean, that's in general just a better Gardener, but we are having a lot of uncommons, so maybe we'll have to trim them. Whenever another creature you control enters, this creature gets +1/+1. I guess this is supposed to be for tokens, but I just don't like this card. It's so vanilla. Oh, this is a way better fit in red-green where you get the birth tokens, right? You obviously want this. Like, you want this in every green deck, but Fenrir is completely crazy. And this is even... Like, it ramps you here, and it's a saga for your random payoff. So it's going to be a combination of things. So ultimately, it's going to be a good stuff deck with boxes of synergy. That's what this archetype is really about. This card reads really well, by the way, because it stays for long enough that a 4/4 matters, and ultimately it's a 5-mana 4/4 make a 2/2, and then the other abilities are okay. So one of that. Obviously one these, like the T-Rex is just a good card. So 1 or 2 you're happy playing in every green deck. So when you remove lore counters, you're triggering abilities more times, right? Because you get the ability again on the upkeep. That's the idea, right? This gets a bonus, your saga triggers again, and then your sagas also live for longer because they're creatures. Does that explain it? You could play other ramp, but other ramp I think fits other teams better. So I'm going to add another Gardener because there's not many other 2-drops, right? When you think about it, white has equipment which don't fit here. And the landfall stuff is whatever because it's more aggro. The common ones at least. You would probably play something like 2-mana 2/2 if you need a filler. This is a common. Tap target non-enchantment creature. But the idea is you will have a lot of mana and it is a body for something like this or this. Oh, this you can play. Other creatures you control get +1/+0. But this is more of an aggro card. So it doesn't fit what I want to build here. But it is a saga. Okay, I'm going to add this because it's perfect. And it's a common. And it's a chase common. You probably can play Suncryst because it doesn't fit other white decks, but this one is fine because you're more mid-range. I want this as a rare. I included it in MTG simplified version as well, but no other deck wants this card because it's not ramping. But this deck is ramping and really wants that. So if you're gonna pick that, this is where you end up the most likely, right? You pick that, you build around it, and it's completely crazy here. A Death Toucher is fine because it trades. No, this deck is a realistic deck to actually cast it. Create 3/2 white knight creature tokens on 1, 2, 3, 4, and then on the 5, everything gets +2/+2, and put an indestructible counter in each of them. It doesn't matter. I guess I'm adding then the 2-mana 1/1 that finds, or maybe another Death Toucher in this deck just to survive. Such a weird pile. I think realistically you're gonna splash in this and play more ramp spells. Oh wait, this card is insane, by the way, in this file. But it's another uncommon. Where are we at? 5. Okay, I'm adding it. We kind of removed some uncommons. We're at 6 only. Deals 4 damage to target tap creature on opponent controls. Then on 2 and 3, something gets +1/+0 and flying. 4-mana 3/3. So maybe that's how you build it. Big and go white. Where's the thingy? This doesn't look that bad. But I think it will function. You will just go a little bit different. You'll go a little bit different about it every time you will draft. This depends what's in the boosters. Something like mid-road. Maybe this is a good deck for the frog. The idea is there. I presented the idea even if I didn't like optimize it and ship it. Town ramp, and it's unreadable because the text is in front. I'm not gonna start with sign pause because I think this deck, if we're talking about towns, wants the UFO. So we're starting here. Flying 2-mana 0/4. Tap, you may put a land card from your hand on the battlefield. 3 mana until end of turn. This creature base power becomes equal to the number of towns you control. And this is relatively fine if you're on the defense because it will block something. 7 mana for an 8/8 when Omega enters, for each opponent tap up to one target non-land permanent that opponent controls, put X stun counters on each of those permanents. You gain X life, where X is number of non-basic lands you control. This is pretty splashable. So this is where I ended up with last time. I kind of figured out you don't need to be green. You just can splash these top and... sorry, you need to be green, but you don't need to have a definite second color. You can just be whatever. Green whatever, and you go towns. So this is your Simic deck. But yeah, this is a great card. Pretty splashable, by the way. Maybe a reason to be Simic main is green-blue, colorless, 2/2, enters, look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may put a land card from among them onto the battlefield tap. And I think this wants to go ballista on the splashes. So you can go 4 or 5 colors if you're going from your base colors. So let's look at green first. We're looking for ramps. We're looking for town matter stuff. Look at the top 3 cards of your library. You may reveal an artifact, creature, or land. So this could be a fit because it finds land, like it finds your towns as well. It ups the town count. Okay, town greeters are great here. They gain your life. So let's put 2 in. For a basic land card or a town card, I think you'd rather have, obviously want this. I'm just gonna put this into every green deck. This could be a fit because you're ramping a lot, but it's more of a landfall card. T-Rex is at least 1 if you get them. This is good, but it's another uncommon. I don't want to too much fill up the uncommon slot. You want to reach the horizon. It's an uncommon, by the way. And now we're at 5 uncommons. Okay, so another town payoff that comes to mind that we've seen already. Draw 4 cards. We're adding that. If we're going blue main, and I'm going to build it as Simic. And then how I build it with in MTG simplified version, I actually, because we're splashing, right? So I went also this direction. I added some of the... This would be, for instance, a really good fit because it's a mass removal that doesn't really hurt you that much. You have like but bunch of replacement creatures, and it actually deals with so many things. And you have a lot of mana, even like for 6 you can cast it. This card doesn't fit any deck, but it would fit on the splash here. And I like even cheaper removal because it's tempo efficient even late in the game, like Thunder Magic. You would want to splash. That double red is less achievable, but this is the trick, right? We're building it as Simic because we're expecting that and we want this. But you could really just build it as a red-green deck. I think it's actually... Town deck might be better as a red-green deck because you get so much efficient removal and then you can pick up Choco comments and stuff. But I was thinking like you can pick up some shocks and you can go this direction. And what this will do for you, it will also maybe make the Blitz Ball good because it's a ramp card. And it's the only ramp that lets you have untapped mana on 3. So that plays pretty well with Thunder Magic because you can buy the tempo back by dealing with something. Play this and play Thunder Magic in that turn. So this is the direction I took it, and I like that direction. And then it's like about getting the bombs and the splashes and put the towns in. Yeah, we could play that, but I like actually Blitzball more. But I like this shell of like pseudo ramp. There's a merch. Okay, yeah, merchant does work. Merchant is a town payoff. And it's a common. Awesome. And that justifies Simic. And then you can experiment with the splashes. I really want to highlight 4-color application of this. Maybe you splash an uncommon. Maybe you get Genoa, right? This could be a rare. Maybe you get the Sin. So I guess you could go down that route. Let's put this as our splash. I just want to highlight that you can splash anything, even if you're like 2-color base splashing some red removal. Search library for a land card. It does search for... I like splashing that if we're ramping already. Search for towns. Ups the town. I mean, you can play a removal. You probably want to play a removal. In blue, defensive. So basically Sentinel will be a good fit. Because it also survives fire magic if you build around that. Oh no, but this is really good. Lands you control enter untap. This is also just good on the first part. At the beginning of your combat on your turn, if you control 5 or more towns, create a 2/2. That's an insane payoff. And then obviously the ability can come up. But the first 2 modes are really good, or the first 2 abilities. Why is it a meme? It's actually a really good card. Like all your towns are untapped as well. 5 towns is not... It's not... that's super realistic. You are aiming for 5 towns. You're gonna get 5 towns pretty easily. Because you are fetching... Like you have these to ramp the towns in. Like these are fine towns. So this is +4 towns in a sense. You're gonna aim for like 7. But even if you have only 5, you're gonna be fetching them. Yeah, because these are all commons. And then you have this one at common as well. And you have the cycling one at uncommon. But yeah, you have to go out of the way and really pick them high. It's not going to be easy, but it's doable. That's what I'm saying. You could play 16 on a word map because that replaces with a land, but that finds a town. Do you guys want full mana for this deck? Let's build full mana for the sake, because like it is maybe not intuitive how you build that. Just make it so it's like minimum 8, so you get to cast your early stuff, and then minimum 7 probably, 2 blue. And then from here, you basically want to fulfill your splash requirements, which were kind of there either way. We can find towns, but if you want basics, there's no reason to play basics, right? Everything fetches a town. Okay, this is a basic land. Okay, so then maybe you want at least a red source. And let's say we put a black in as well. And then we still have room. So like there's plenty of I don't think so. I think you can build blue black town heavy. Also there's fixing applications for towns. So for instance, a green white can splash pretty easily. Or maybe you will sometimes splash in other archetypes and then you will need towns just for fixing, but not too many of them. But in this capacity, yeah, like in this quantity, this is the only archetype. All right, there's your archetype skeletons. I'm going to post this on YouTube like I did with the first 5. So you're getting the links in the description on YouTube. But this is it.